Hi everyone, I'm Tricia Morris and welcome to the Fly a Kite Special Edition workshop. This was actually originally offered at the One of a Kind events as a live workshop, but unfortunately somehow the video disappeared from their YouTube page and we are unable to retrieve it. So here I am this is a 2.0 edition of the Fly a Kite Page Kit Assembly Workshop. And this is actually an easier version of the original Page Kit Assembly Workshop. So if you have the original Page Kit and you want to do something a little easier, or maybe make another set of 8 more pages unique from the first batch with the Fly a Kite Page Kit, you are in the right place. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to flip my camera over to my work surface. And we're just going to do this like a live show. I probably won't go through and do the editing because I didn't the first time, and that will save me a lot of time. So I've got the original set of instructions that was shipped with this special one-of-a-kind workshop kit. Here are my completed pages. We're going to go over those a little bit later. And this is the kit itself. I also have my Fiskars Guillotine 12-inch trimmer. We do carry these here at Club Scrap, and it's because I feel it's such an essential ingredient to your success with the scrapbooking projects. And then I'm also using an accordion pocket file. Now this is something I developed many years ago. It's basically made from 3 sheets of 12 by 12 paper. I do have a video tutorial available, as well as a starter kit to help you make one of these for yourself if you don't already have one. Essentially, with the 4 pockets, we'll trim everything required for all 8 layouts at the same time, and then file those individual pieces into one of 4 pockets that will then easily distribute to each double page spread we're about to make. The reason I came up with this is because scrapbooking tends to take up a lot of space on your horizontal surfaces, but we rarely take advantage of our vertical space. So that's what this does. Keeps everything in a very small place, keeps it organized while we work on our kits. So if you want to go ahead and take all of just the paper, only the paper out of the bag if you haven't already. I find that most students love to get the paper out of the bag immediately upon arrival. And then I'm also going to have you find the photo mats that are included in your page kit. Now these are included in our monthly page kits, not in our special edition collections. In those kits we include 4 extra sheets of 12 by 12 paper. The pre-cut photo mats actually save us a ton of time, not only because we don't have to trim larger sheets of paper, but they're also cut to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, so that you don't have to crop your photos to lay them onto the mat. It's kind of a clever thing. It's not very efficient to cut a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 out of a 12 by 12. So I'm going to begin just by looking ahead real quick and find out where these photo mats live. And I'm going to have us file them into one of 4 pockets. Now, if you don't have this handy guy, just designate 4 piles, one for pages 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and so on. And we're going to test our filing skills now, so I'll get warmed up here. I want you to find 3 blue photo mats. So let's just take these blue ones out of here. Make sure we got 3. A lot of times if you can't find 3, they might be stuck together. Deb is single-handedly collates all these mats, and she does an incredibly accurate job. Put all 3 of these into a pocket labeled 1 and 2. And then we're moving on to, let's see, 3 light green. So those are the 3. This is light green, this is dark green. So 3 light green. Those go in pocket 3 and 4. Next, I want you to find 3 dark green. Well, this isn't so bad. That goes in pocket 5 and 6. And I'm guessing, yes. Let's see. Where did this other black one go? Let me go back and find that. Oh, we're going to put 1 black photo mat in pocket 1 and 2, and the final 2 black photo mats in pocket 7 and 8. So now we have our photo mats distributed. And the next thing I typically do with any monthly Club Scrap kits, we kind of follow this routine, is I sort the paper in the order it's going to be trimmed. So to sort, I start by holding it, literally holding it in the crook of my arm, so that I can see easily from the top edge that all of that paper is, I can see all the different colors and sort through it much more easily. And so I want you to first find 1 sheet of the light green plain. We typically have 2 of each color in a kit, typically, not every single time, but 1 sheet of this light green. Next, we have a text weight duplex paper I want you to find. So here's that duplex print. So it's two different designs, one on each side. Then we're going to find one of the Kite print. Put that face down on your trimmer base. Next, we're going to grab the blue, just this beautiful bright blue color. Then we're going to look for one black plain. Just make sure, oh, I guess we're going to use two of them, so grab the other one as well. Two black plains. And then from the back of the stack, typically you'll find the cut apart sheet. So first I want you to find the one with lots of strips. Put it face down on your trimmer base. And then this one has quite a few tags. Put that face down. Continuing on, I know it's a lot of sorting, but you'll find out at the end why we do it this way. This is definitely a well-developed method. Okay, I'm going to find the other Kite print face down. Then a light green plain. And this gets easier and easier as we run out of paper. Then we'll take the triangle side of the duplex paper and put the triangles down, kites up. And the other blue. Next, take two of these dark green plains, followed by two of the pinwheel prints, face down. So you'll notice that anything that had a print on it went kind of face down. The solid colors at Club Scrap are typically full core cardstock that that doesn't have a right or a wrong side unless it has a texture. So we'll flip everything back over again, back to our first light green, and I'm going to put that in my trimmer base. For students, learning this process for the first time, sometimes there's a little bit of stress involved with making those first cuts. If I'm going too fast, which if you're a beginner, I probably will be, go ahead and adjust your playback speed on your YouTube settings button, that little gear button. Adjust the playback speed to like 0.75 or even 0.5, and I'll give you a much more chill version of this workshop. Okay, so here's the light green plain. I'm just going to find a nice easy 6 inches. Nice whole number. Always make sure that your paper is flush up at the top guide to ensure a nice straight cut. Then press down on the clear bar here to stabilize and slice that. Now you're going to take both of the 6x12s we just created, pick them up and stack them neatly together. And we're going to trim them horizontally at the same time. First at 8, and then simply slide this down to 4. And we just created 6 pieces of paper that are all the same size. We're going to file these now into the appropriate pockets. Take 3 of them and place them in pocket 1 and 2. And the other 3 will go in pocket 7 and 8. That's all there is to it for that entire print. Okay, so now this next piece, if you want to grab it with the triangle side facing up, either way, it doesn't really matter. We're going to trim this one at 9. Nice whole number for you again. And 5. Now notice I let this piece lay here while I slide this down to 5. Okay, so this 5-inch piece, I'm going to flip it over to the Kite side and put it in pocket 3 and 4 at an angle. Because when you're filing larger things like this, the accordion pocket file is only 12 inches wide, and so is the paper. So if you just file it on a side like this, so I can still see the numbers of the pockets on the left, or if you want to switch it to the right, it's fine. But this way I can still file it and I can still see what I'm doing. Okay, now the next piece that we cut from the middle, this is the medium-sized one. This is going to go in pocket 7 and 8, triangles up. And then this more narrow piece goes in pocket 5 and 6, triangles up. And you can see the convenience of having this accordion pocket file. It's really a nice member essential here if you decide you want to become a member of the Club Scrap family. Well, we'll just have to make sure you get your hands on the tutorial and supplies to make that. Okay, now the Kite print is going to go into the trimmer right side up. And typically in my instructions, if a print has an orientation, then it matters. I will both show it in the diagram and explain it in the instructions. But in this case, it just shows we're going to trim this at 8 3/4 and 5. All right, so this 5-inch piece, we're going to place that in pocket 3 and 4. The next piece, we're going to pick it up and place it horizontally into the trimmer, cut at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. Notice I'm stabilizing each time. We just made 3 pieces of the same side, and if you want, you can flip them over to the white side facing up to avoid confusion and put them in pockets 7 and 8. I am afraid to tell you that this little guy is a scrap. You can set him aside, and then the remaining strip, file it in pocket 3 and 4. Moving right along to the blue plane. You can see the efficiency here of preparing 8 layouts at once versus 1 at a time. Your trimmer can be put away later, and it's it's just so much easier and quicker. All right, our first cut here now is going to be at 8.5. That's 8.5. And 4 1/4. All right, rotate and trim at 6 1/4. So you made 2 pieces. They're not quite the same size. The lengths are different, but they both go in pocket 5 and 6. The next piece, I want you to trim at 10 3/4 and 5 3/4. Take this piece, the one you just created, it's 5 3/4. We're going to file that in pockets 7 and 8. And then there are 2 more pieces that we just made, this more boxy size and a skinny strip. Those go in 5 and 6. The final strip, it's a little narrower at 3.5 inches. We're going to cut this one horizontally. 9 3/4 and 6 1/4. Okay, so the 6 1/4 piece, and then the next one that happens to be square. Both of these go in pocket 3 and 4. The final smaller rectangle, we're going to actually cut it horizontally at 2 3/4. And then this guy goes in 3 and 4 also. Every piece we trim is trimmed for a reason, and that does create a little tiny scrap. Almost there. We're going to take this black. Just make sure you grab one sheet. We have 2 together, so just only take 1. And the first cut's going to be at 10.5 and 6 1/4. Rotate and cut at 11.5, 8.5, 4 1/4. Okay, so now you just made 2 pieces the same exact size. Those are going to go in pockets 7 and 8. That left us with this little kind of narrow rectangle. I want you to trim that horizontally at 6 and 3. Stack up the 2 squares you just made. They're the same size, and they go in pockets 7 and 8. And then, I'm sorry to say, we made 2 scraps. This long guy and the skinny one. That's more than I usually have. Some months, with some monthly kids, I don't have any scraps. All right, this next piece, this is 4 1/4 by 12 right now. We're going to trim that at 6 1/4. And put that in 7 and 8. And this smaller guy goes in 3 and 4. And you have a strip going into 7 and 8. Okay, now here's an important tip for this next black sheet we'll trim together. It's a sort of a tendency, especially I see it in a classroom all the time. When we trim something, a student will take the piece that was created and move it. And what I really want you to be in the habit of doing when you're working in my classes is to allow those papers to pile up without being moved. If you move them, then I don't know where they are. If you leave them lay, then I can say, pick up the next piece. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to make a lot of cuts here, so it's really important they stack up in order. The first cut is at 11 3/4, then 11.5, 10 3/4, 10, 9, 7.5. I told you there'd be a lot of cuts. 7.5, 7, 5 3/4, and 3. Okay, so we've made this huge stack. Leave it lay. Rotate the piece that's still in your trimmer base. We'll cut at 10.5, 7, 3.5. Okay, so we just made a set of 3 rectangles. They're almost squares, but not quite. 2 of them go in pocket 1 and 2, and the other 7 and 8. And then there's this little strip. We're going to cut it horizontally at 1.5. Now, when you're using a trimmer of this size, you can sometimes, instead of having this tiny piece rest along the top ridge, you can bring it down a little bit so you can see the numbers a little better. Totally up to you. You can even bring things down to the midpoint. There's another set of measuring rulers here in the middle. Okay, so these two guys are going to go in pocket 1 and 2. There's nice little squares. Now the next strip, we're going to make a whole bunch of squares out of this. So we'll start out at 11, 8 1/4, 5 1/2, 2 3/4. Okay, so we got a set of 4 squares here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to be used in pocket 5 and 6, and we did create a small scrap. For the rest of the items in the pile, I want you to carefully pick everything up, just trying to maintain the stack as best you can, and then hold it in the palm of your hand if you're able, so we can distribute it more easily into the pockets. So the top 2 pieces, and if you lost track, this one's 1 1/4 and this one's only 1/2 of an inch. Both of them go in pocket 1 and 2. Then you have another piece that's kind of wide and then slightly skinnier. These are 1 1/2 and 1 inches. Both of them go in pocket 3 and 4. Next, the 2 largest remaining pieces, as well as the really skinny one. So you have 4 strips here. All of them go in pocket 5 and 6. Now that we've reached the end of just the plain paper trimming, we're going to go ahead and separate these cut aparts into individual pieces of artwork. And this just makes finishing a layout so much easier. To me, if I have to finish a layout with the page title that I make, it doubles the time it takes. But if I can just finish my pages with these clever and neutral titles, my page looks complete without me having to do a lot of work. Now, if you wanted to do the work, you can. You can always flip these over or skip them or whatever you want. But this does save me a lot of time in my scrapbooking. Now on our newer cut aparts, you won't see these trim marks on everything. The instructions give you the measurements, but I'm still going to walk you through the measurements, and they are in your copy of the instructions as well. We're on step 7. So the first cut here is going to be at 11 1/2. I'm also looking at the lines just to make sure they line up with the edge of my blade, those guidelines at the top and bottom of the sheet here. Of course, making sure that your cut apart is placed where the Let Your Dreams Soar should be on your left. Okay, then I'm going to slide down again, and this is going to be at 11. Then we're going to be at 9 3/4. 8 1/2. 7 1/2, 5 3/4, and 3 1/4. Rotate, and I think this is just at 6. Yep, cutting this in half. Notice again, I left everything pile up. So now we're going to file this section by section. So the Let Your Dreams and this kite image, both of these go in pocket 3 and 4. It doesn't matter what order the things are when they land in the pocket, as long as they're just in the correct pocket. Now this next strip, I'm going to place it in the trimmer so that the vertical journaling prompt is on your right. That's kind of important for these measurements. We'll cut at 10. 7 1/2, 5, 2 1/2. Okay, now we're going to take the 4 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 images, and they all go in pocket 5 and 6. There's a smaller journaling prompt here. This fell off the end first. That goes in pocket 3 and 4. The remaining strips, we'll pick them all up like we did with the black strips and hold them in the palm of our hand for distribution. So let me take Only from the Heart. Can you touch the sky? Oh, it's so sweet. That goes in 5 and 6. Then I will follow you to the ends of the earth, 1 and 2. Let me play among the stars, 3 and 4. Let's see. That goes in 7 and 8. So yeah, Let Me Play Among the Stars, 7 and 8. My apologies. Fly Me to the Moon, 3 and 4. And then the remaining 2 diamond strips, those go in 5 and 6. One more sheet to trim, and then we're done with all of the trimming for all 8 pages, which I think is super cool. Make sure you insert this into the trimmer with the little border strip of kites on the right, and we are going to cut at 11 1/4, 8, and 4. Now, if you're new to this and these cuts aren't coming as easily, that's 4 inches again. Be patient with yourself. I see it happen in classes. Like that first cut is a lot of timid or tentative cuts. By the end of class, the students have a lot more confidence, and I hope the same is true for you if this is your first time. But if you haven't felt that confidence creep in yet, be patient with yourself. It will come over time, and it will save you so much time. This gets trimmed at 6 inches. We'll take the pinwheel piece that goes in 1 and 2, the large quote 7 and 8. And this next one, we're going to place horizontally so the words "the sky's the limit" is on the right. And go ahead and cut at 11 and let's see, 5 1/2. 5 1/2. Okay, so this Love at First Kite, that's 7 and 8. Then this other one, Imagination, is the highest kite one can fly. That's going to go 5 and 6. And then Sky's the Limit, that's 5 and 6. Okay, then, I think this is almost like a finally. Paradise should be on the right, and we're going to cut at 11, 8 1/4, 5 1/2, 2 3/4. All right, this one, 1 and 2. Now in a situation like this where you have these little corners, one thing you can do is eyeball. So what I usually do is put this right in my trimmer. I check where the blade is and then just give it a little snip when I see the margin matching the margin in the rest of the areas. So that's a really quick way to take care of making your tag prompts. This is going to be placed in pocket 7 and 8. These, I'm going to grab my scissors and just separate these with a real rough cut. I'm not going to fussy cut them. I'm just going to separate the 3 kites into 3 different pieces of paper. Let's see. This little guy looks like a W kind of. He goes in 3 and 4. And then your typical kite, both of these styles end up in pocket 1 and 2. Oh, look, it's another tag. Maybe I'll just go do my thing again. Just clip off those ends. And that's going to be in pocket 1 and 2 also. The word Paradise, 1 and 2. And then you have a strip here. That's going to go in 3 and 4. Now, what's cool is basically when all is said and done, in the process of making 8 layouts, you only had this left over for scraps. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiny pieces. I could have probably worked harder to find a home for them. I just didn't. But, you know, that's not bad for 8 layouts. I mean, comparable to what you're used to, perhaps that's more scraps. But for most people, that's way fewer scraps than they usually end up with. And it's just nice not to have to store and organize something after you've made something out of it. I'm going to replace my trimmer here, or to get rid of that, because we're done. We're done with the trimming phase, which is super cool. And now we're in what I call the dry fit phase. So we have this remaining stack of papers. We have all the stuff in our folder. Hopefully your folder hasn't fallen on the floor or anything. And I'm going to take this entire stack of paper and set it, the whole stack of it, to the left of the center of my workspace, and then slide the top sheet over. And what that's going to give me is the base for 2 pages, because we work in double page spreads. This is page 7 and this is 8. Now, as we work backwards up to layout number 1, we'll keep sliding the pages over so that layout 1 will be on top and ready for you to add adhesive and then add your pictures. So that also means we need to turn to page 5 of your instructions and find the image for layouts 7 and 8, which is at the bottom of that page. So if I look at what I have in front of me, this green paper and this kite paper, that's exactly what's in the background and the first 2 ingredients listed on what's required for the layout. You never really need to read these ingredient lists unless you're mystified as to what is on the page. Otherwise, you can kind of ignore all of that and just follow along with my video that I make each month for our page kits. I do videos for the card kits too, so if you like to make cards, you can add a card kit to your page kit membership and vice versa, and to give that a try as well. Okay, now what we do is take all of those pieces that we trimmed and distribute them onto the page, and I like to hold them, once again, in the palm of my hand. It just makes distribution a little easier. So this is going to end up going across the top of the page, and then a while back we added 3 of these mats. Now they're printed on one side and plain on the other, so if you want you can certainly use them printed side up, but they should fit perfectly right into that space. Okay, then we're going to start separating with a border strip just below that printed area. So we're creating a section here, and then we'll add our title, Let Me Play Among the Stars. Then you're going to have a horizontal black mat that just happens to fit perfectly to the right of the title. Maybe there's going to be a mat that should fit the cut part that says Love at First Kite. And then we're going to add 2, let's see, not this one, I think it's these 2 small black squares beneath the picture. And look at how that puzzled in absolutely perfectly. And then on the right, I'm going to take a vertical photo mat and nest it with this guy to make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And then a horizontal, and you should find a lime that fits perfectly right on top of it. Now you have 2 more sets here. So I'm going to take the black and the lime. Then you have this journaling prompt. He gets a mat. So you could also adhere it and then clip the corners in the same way we did before. And then these mats, I'm going to just kind of temporarily arrange them here like so. This gets tucked behind a little. And now your page is ready, for us to move on to the next thing. So we have all the pieces out of the folder, and we can just move on. But before we do, what I'd like to do now is just review some finishing, embellishing touches with you. Okay, so this is the right side of the layout. Be mindful that I have my pictures on it. Your pictures will be different. When I'm matching my pictures to my pages, I usually just work with it, whatever's next in my life. And it's a bonus if the colors match. So the green of the grass and the blue of the bicycle here within my grandson's picture was, seriously, could not have been more perfect. There isn't a single kite on any of my pages, mind you, but all of them worked beautifully. Now on this layout, you see that the kite here is in the background. I just made a little craft knife slice on the side of the kite so I could tuck my photo mat behind it. You can see it peeking out from that side, and stapled a piece of ribbon. Now the ribbon, all the embellishments I'm going to show you are included in your page kit, so you don't have to worry about finding matching ribbon. It's already included. All right, on the other page, here again, you can see I have all of my pictures here. And this guy, all I simply did was took the same blue double-faced satin ribbon that we included and wrapped it around the corner before I attached it to the page. And I just love how it all fits in so beautifully. Added my little journaling as well once the pictures were added. And again, I didn't do that until after everything was laid down. I know I do have members who don't stick their photo mats down because they're worried that it won't fit with their pictures, but I don't do it that way, and it works just fine. Okay, that's layout 7 and 8. We're clipping along here. I'm going to just slide this over, and I know that things are going to get jostled, but it's okay. When you go back with your adhesive, it pulls back together so readily. Now I'm going to slide this next piece over. So I slid 7 on top of 8. Now this piece goes on top of 7, and that should give me the base that I need for layout 5 and 6. So to find the pieces, I just have to go into my pocket organizer, find everything there. I can pull that all out. Empty. Always verify that it's empty. And let's see what we've got. We have this strip. So what we're going to do is carry the pattern over from this side over onto this side. And we're going to kind of do something similar where we take, let's see, I think these might be the really thin 1/4" strips. It's been a while since I've filmed this originally. Yes, and then just subdivide that space. I just love that. That black just adds so much. I hope you agree. Let's see, more border strips going across here. So I'm going to take this black strip horizontally to sort of add balance, and then that will nest with these diamonds. Very cool how that ties in. Okay, Now, some photo mats here. We gotta have room for the photos. Look how that fits right in there. Boom, boom. And then this should have a mat that it fits onto in blue. And yes, it does. And you can clip those corners the way we talked about with the trimmer, or you can use a craft knife. That's gonna go over here. Now another vertical mat here, and then a smaller blue one. It should be the same width, fits right beneath it perfectly. And then this is gonna go on the horizontal. What you can do too then is bring these pieces so that they sort of hug this little space, a little air around it. And you also need to have enough room to place 2 squares above, which in this case now we do, and 2 squares down over here. Now we have these square pieces of art. Now these are cut aparts, and they help you finish the page if you lack more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pictures. You can add more pictures on top of these pieces of artwork. They are not there to keep you from using pictures. They're there to help you finish pages where you lack pictures. I hope that makes sense. Then we have this last piece has a mat, so it pops off the page over here. Okay, so let's take a look. This is page 6, again with photos from my life. This was my daughter's graduation from college weekend. So all I did here for embellishing is added a little piece of folded green ribbon behind that square, and stapled some folded ribbon to that little sky's the limit. I love this for graduation. It couldn't be any better. Again, not a kite in sight. So, you know, elevate your picture's theme over the paper theme. Prioritize color over anything. Just look at that blue sky. Here I did picture in picture. I just found a scrap of black paper, and I added this photo of them arriving at the airport in front of the picture of the plane. So that was kind of fun. Here, punch the hole, wrap the ribbon all the way around to the back. If you don't tie a ribbon onto a tag, then the page will be less lumpy in that area, which is kind of a nice ribbon tip for you. Okay, we're going to do this stack and slide again. So I'm going to stack this onto the previous, or the oncoming page. That's page 5 and 6. Do one more slide. So just take one piece, and that gives us 2 dark green planes in front of us, and that's going to correspond with what you see on pages 3 and 4. Okay, so 3 and 4. Take everything out of these pockets, and this is so nice because when I originally did this workshop, I think I only had 25 minutes, and I'm at 32 minutes live. So, yeah, not bad. Okay, let's distribute these pieces on the edges here. So the wide on the left, and then the skinnier one on the right, flush with the edge. And I'm doing my little trick again, where I'm going to add a black border along with this little kite pattern to just subdivide the space a little bit more. Should fit perfectly if everything went according to plan. If it doesn't, it's still your own darn page, right? Now this guy, we're going to run him across the top here behind the kite. Subdivides that even further. Then add a horizontal border with this Fly Me to the Moon. So this page now has 1, 2, 3, 4 zones basically. One photo mat that's black is going to just fit perfectly right down in here. And then just take 2 light green mats, and those are going to be added. Okay, then a horizontal here. So this really skinny blue piece should nest with Let Your Dreams Soar. That's going to go in that area. Another spot for a picture here. This embellishment goes on the left side. This should fit. Now this is usually the part where in a live workshop, the students are starting to grasp the potential, this fits right on here, of this method. They're like, wow, this is like putting a puzzle together, and it puzzles together beautifully. And now is the fun part where you can infuse your creativity into these pages, and that's what I do with the embellishments. So on the finished page, I trimmed out the kite, and then I pop dotted on the existing kite. And then I looped the ribbon or the twine included in your kit, just kind of used some glue to stabilize it a little bit, and added the 3 miniature pre-tied satin bows to the area with our bookbinding glue. So we have bookbinding glue that I put into a needle tip applicator that helps make the application of the glue really accurate. And you can see, again, I'm going with color here. This was a trip to Mexico, and this was the dining room where it was like a wine themed restaurant, and all the green wine bottles matched so perfectly with the paper. I couldn't believe it. Again, no kites here, but I think it still works so well. And here we are in Mexico again, focusing on the color, and just such a happy memory here. I think it's perfect. And even the quote, I'll just read it. I hope that someday when I'm gone, someone somewhere picks my soul up off the pages and thinks I would have loved her. Yep, she would have loved me. I can be fun. And yeah, my husband's kind of got this little reflective look on his face here too. It just is perfect. So I'm sure that in your stash you have pictures perfect for these pages as well. All right, now I'm going to slide. I just love that quote. And slide again. This is the last time we get to do that for this kit, but if you join Club Scrap, you can do this stack and slide with me every month. I do a video, and we'll make these pages together. I'll never leave you wondering how it all works. Okay, again, I usually start out with these border strips, and I've got one going across the bottom here, and then something to nest it with. On the right side, I'm just going to take this last piece of black, and I paired it up with some ribbon, I believe, on my final layout. So that's what, if you're wondering, where's the blue strip? It's because it's the blue satin ribbon, and I'll show you again on the finished layout. 3 photo mats. So one's going to go here, and then 2 are going to be placed vertically like so, and they're all going to get a companion, so to really pop. So those fit so nice. We trim these right at the beginning of class, and then we get a mat over here maybe with this guy. It's going to look great. 2 little accent photos or little spots for embellishments can go there. 2 black mats for a title and a journaling prompt. The kites are used creatively, I'll show you, and then this is Paradise Lands there. Everything's out of our pocket, and the page is ready for adhering and embellishing. So I'm going to slide one more time and quick show you the finished pages. So here is my finished layout. Again, this is the same trip. I just was in Mexico, and the view of the water matching with the colors. I mean, again, I've said it 1,000 times, but it's all about color. Did my little craft knife trick here where I brought this into the foreground and tucked my photo mat behind it. So it's, if you feel comfortable using a craft knife, it's a wonderful little way to kick it up a notch. Small picture cut into pieces, cut into 2 pieces to fit here. Trim this out and added and strung that kite string all meandering along, adding the pre-tied satin bows accordingly. Just used some foam adhesive circles there to pop those up. Added some ribbon to that. Oh, and I'll show you. This is the ribbon running through on the other page. Just adds a lot. We always include a generous portion of ribbon in our kits, so keep that in mind. It's really fun to embellish with ribbon, and it can go a long way to just, you know, kicking it up a notch. That's what it's all about. Okay, so I think that's what I've got. That is the page kit. We got 38 minutes of raw footage, and I'm just going to leave this video as it is, and I'm going to upload it directly to YouTube without editing anything. And I had a really good time. I felt nice and relaxed. Actually, in reality, it's a Friday night, and I had a little bit of time before I had to be home, and I thought I would just take this opportunity to teach this class. Now, if you're watching this and you've never heard of Club Scrap and you don't even know, you just kind of got sucked into the video and you have more questions, our team is always here to help you and give you information. Club Scrap is a monthly subscription box, and right now the price is $21.95 monthly. Shipping is $7.95, but shipping is a real expense, especially for small businesses, so we just are very transparent about what we charge for it. We often pay far more than $7.95 to get your box to you, but it's a question some people have. The other biggest question people have about membership is, how long am I required to stay? We're not like a gym or a fitness center where you sign a year contract or something. I believe strongly that it's my job to earn your loyalty. So if you join and it's not working for you, I understand. However, I love it if you could stay for the rest of your life, or as long as we keep doing this, because we've been doing this for 22 years. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. but it's really fun. So I invite you to become a member of the Club Scrap family. We'd love to have you. We're a fun, kind-hearted, creative, crafty bunch. So come and join us. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Call us at 888-634-9100 and 888-634-9100. And a real person will get back to you or pick up the phone. Otherwise, email at info@clubscrap.com and we'll be sure to get back to you as soon as we can. So thanks for joining me, and thanks for your patience. You've been waiting for this video to be redone since we lost the last one at One of a Kind's YouTube page. So thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in class soon. Bye.